Former President Trump just gave a last-minute boost to MAGA Republicans and directed nearly $3 million in ad spending for Senate candidates in Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia. Now, it comes ahead of the former president's trip to Florida this weekend, where he and Governor Ron DeSantis will hold dueling campaign events. The Republican governor is widely seen as Trump's biggest competition for the 2024 GOP presidential nomination. Joining us now is former Trump White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah Griffin and former Pence advisor Olivia Troye. Olivia, let's start with you because we talk about this potential fight between Trump and DeSantis in Florida. But it's interesting that your former boss, former Vice President Pence, also posted this onto his Instagram account, talking about his latest division, I guess, and rift between him and his former boss. Let's play it.
I was always loyal to President Donald Trump. He was my president and he was my friend. And throughout our 4 years together, we worked closely together and we forged a close personal relationship that in the end came on difficult times.
In the end, it came on difficult times. Now, it's part of his book promotion, but I'm just curious, Olivia, is it part of something bigger, perhaps an announcement that he himself will be running?
I can't predict the future, but certainly I believe that he does intend to run. And I think he's reminding the voters that he's still here, he's still in the running, and he can tout the Trump administration's accomplishments and everything that they did. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that separated, and that was democracy. And that's the one thing that Mike Pence did. He stood up for our democracy and he had the courage to actually do the right thing that day. So we have DeSantis and Trump holding those rallies that they're going to do. I actually don't see DeSantis much different than Trump. So I think between the three of them, I think Mike Pence is the differentiator on this thing.
And Alyssa, this comes as we're speaking about preserving democracy, as the president himself will be making a primetime address tonight. And you can't overstate the divide between not only these two parties, but these two party leaders, because Donald Trump continues to be the leader of the Republican Party, where he's supporting these MAGA Republicans and a lot of them election deniers like himself. And you have President Biden speaking to the need to preserve democracy. What does President Biden need to say tonight, and who directly does he need to be addressing?
So I hope it's an inclusive message. I hope it's a message that's aimed at bringing in Republicans who are not among the 30% of Republicans who hard and fast think that the election was stolen. There are plenty of people on the margins who are going to go out to vote next Tuesday who may not be voting for Democrats, but they're concerned about election denialism. They're concerned about the conspiracy theories that have taken hold in my party. My one caution is this. I don't expect to hear it in the remarks, but Democrats made a strategic error when they put about $50 million behind election deniers and primary races. Their intention, of course, was to boost candidates who they thought were going to be easier for Democrats to beat. However, in some cases, some of those may win, like Brian Bolduc in New Hampshire, for example, John Gibbs in Michigan 3. I would love to see Biden condemn that. I don't expect that we're going to see that, but that does give more credence to his push for, like, we all have a stake in this democracy and a role to play in it.
And Olivia, we're also expecting to hear the president point out the results of next week's election could take time to be finalized and could take days to be finalized. And that is something that we've traditionally seen in the past. But of course, given these election deniers, given conspiracy theories, that opens the opportunity and opens the floodgates, really, for people to say that these elections were not fair. Is that enough of a pre-warning, I guess, from the president tonight? And what more can he do and can sensible Republicans do to remind Americans that this is just how the process works and we may not get the results right away?
Well, look, I think it's important for him to talk about it. I think it's important for him to stress the fact that this could be an election that there's going to take days to kind of figure out the results here. I think it's important because that sort of doesn't give airplay to the conspiracy theorists out there. They're certainly going to surface should it not go the way that they want it to go. And I think it's important, actually, I hope that he talks about the need to really tamp down political violence and how critical that is. And I think Republicans are actually the messengers for that talking point. They're the ones that need to be out there saying this could take time. Don't come out of the gate the next morning saying, oh, they stole the election from me, which is what I expect that some of these election denying candidates will likely do. They've already sort of started to circulate that and say that. And quite frankly, I'm concerned. I worry for the election officials that will be doing the count on these. I worry for the poll workers. And I worry for some of these other candidates that are running that may be on the receiving end of the threats that will come.
And Alyssa, in light of the attack on Speaker Pelosi's husband, we did see Glenn Youngkin come out initially and give really an off-color remark and downplaying the scope of the attack and saying that he hopes that Pelosi comes home to her husband now. And he has walked that back and essentially apologized for it in an interview with Punchbowl News. Kari Lake has not done that, and she was speaking at an event where she joked about it, and not only joked about it, but you saw the audience react, laughing in response. She has doubled down on that and said, just roll the tape. That's not what happened. So let's roll the tape.
I never made light on the attack. I was talking about our children and why they don't have better security at school. And I said that our politicians have security and that our athletes have security, and we need to have security for our children. Go back and look at the tape and don't do any creative editing like the fake media tends to do, and you'll see what I was saying.
Plan to have it in your budget to increase school safety, and how so?
I believe with the last budget, Wendy, not if I'm right, was about $50 million put into increasing school safety with school resource officers, armed officers, to make sure we're protecting our kids. It is not impossible to protect our kids at school. They act like it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection. But if our lawmakers have protection, if our lawmakers can have protection, if our politicians can have protection, if our athletes, then certainly the most important people in our lives, our children, should have protection.
So I don't know what she found funny there. I don't know what that audience found funny about it, but will voters support her for comments like that?
Unfortunately, I expect to see that she's going to win, and I think that's a byproduct of Katie Hobbs not running a particularly strong campaign against her, refusing to debate her. But there is no more irresponsible politician I can think of running in these midterm elections than Kari Lake. She's espoused nonsense conspiracy theories. She's someone who I believe knows better. She was a longtime journalist in Phoenix, a credible person until she started not only auditioning for the governor's race, but I think she's really angling to be Trump's VP nom in 2024. And so I think everything she's doing is to achieve that goal. You know, may the facts kind of be damned.
Yeah. Sad state of our politics today. Olivia Troy, Alyssa Farah Griffin, thank you so much.